On today's podcast, or if you're watching through YouTube, I have my friend Sher join me to talk about balance and a little bit more about her journey. Sher is also an oracle and a poet and leads many healing ceremonies, which is actually where I met her at a Kundalini breathwork class. You guys can also find her on Instagram, where she shares her journey and her services at iameternal.love. Enjoy, guys! How do you embrace your inner power?
I embrace my inner power by loving all parts of myself and allowing all parts to shine fully.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And honestly, we do need to embrace every part of ourselves, to have that balance and know who we really are, to know like what is right for us. So thank you for sharing. Today, we're going to be talking about how your divine masculine and feminine basically play into your divinity. And I have the amazing Cher here today. So we're going to be diving deep into like what all this means and how to have balance in all of this. So could you share a little more on what balance means to you?
What balance means to me is it plays into what I said earlier of embracing all parts of ourselves. It allows us to be happy and healthy. We see this in, even in artwork, the composition, it needs to be balanced. In our room, we want things to be balanced. It makes things beautiful. So it's a part of having a beautiful life.
Question: what does it mean to balance your individual truth?
So our individual truth doesn't just come from, a lot of the times we're searching for our truth. So sometimes we don't even know what our truth is. And the thing is, a lot of us are carrying truths that are coming from outside programming, from our parents, from our family, our friends, even the movies and TV shows we watch. It's constantly giving us what is right and wrong. Even just school, we're always being shown what feels good, what doesn't. This is good to do, this is not. So we're taking in so much information. So we really have to learn how to decipher that. What really feels right with you? What is my truth? No one else's. Not what the world tells me is right or wrong. What my friends or family tells me or my religion tells me. What is right or wrong, like deep within my soul. And that's really the only way we can get to that is through like shadow work, therapy, journaling, reflecting, and learning how to listen to our intuition. So it takes work to learn your inner truth.
So, how would you say the feminine and masculine tie into everyone's individual balance?
Well, we can start with our parents. We have our mother and our father, and then we have, siblings, and then we have friends, and that we see women and men. That's like the two biggest dichotomies we experience in our lives. And then we see stories being played out between men and women, romance, and just struggle or cooperation or conflict. We see so many of these dynamics playing out since the beginning of time. And so it's being shown to us, oh, this is what men are like, this is what women are like, this is what a relationship should look like or shouldn't look like. So we look at, say, a film and we see a similar trope play out for women and men in these love stories. It starts to create this programming in our mind that this is how it is, that this is what a relationship should look like, or it's supposed to look like, or oh, this is what always happens. Maybe we see a lot of toxic um, roles being played out on TV and we think that's okay, but when really it's not. We're not really shown the good things very often on TV, even in the news. So we think, oh, that's fine, that's how the world is. So we just accept it. And with accepting other people's truths instead of our own, we start to push our truth, our individual truth out, and we start to fill it up with things that aren't us. And that's when we end up on paths that aren't meant for us, or we end up in a life that we don't even recognize.
And like we end up like having the programming in so deep, we're like we don't even know who we are. That's why it's so important to do the healing work, do the shadow work. Something so simple as in like journaling. Like I know, like for me personally, that's helped a lot. And guess going a little bit off topic, but learning about my human design, I'm a projector and I get easily conditioned. So now that I am aware of that, that has to do with like my healing process, is that like now I can tap out of that when I see like, oh, that's not my actual truth. That's not my opinion. That's not who I am. So like we can't express enough like how important it is, to know who you are and like know your individual truth. So how was it that you like, I guess just for you personally, like how did you start even like discovering your individual truth, like and like knowing the difference with what wasn't for you?
Well, I'm glad you brought up human design because that actually ties into this
Yeah.
because I love studying like astrology and numerology, human design, gene keys, like all of that. And the reason why it's so great to dive into those things because it helps us understand who we are. And maybe, on a psychological standpoint, yeah, there's the shadow work, there's the therapy. But in a spiritual perspective, we have been given a certain programming to play out. We've been given a path to live. So looking into these things like the human design tells us this is who you really are. At least for this lifetime, we know who we really are, in the higher senses, source playing this role or whatever. But who I am in this lifetime with these people, this journey, who I'm supposed to be. So we can start there, looking into our human design because there are parts of us in astrology and human design gene keys that we've always known and we feel it. We've just never had it clarified to us. We've never had it so just like written right in front of us. We're like, whoa, I've always felt this way, or well, I am like that. I just never really felt
Yeah.
it. So that's a great way to start. But I would say that's how I kind of got into it too. But I think why I really started diving into this, I would say just in my own relationships, recognizing the dynamic between men and women, how I am with, coworkers or my boss, if they're a guy or a girl, or my friends versus people I date, noticing the differences, the way that I act, the way that I approach them. I've noticed how much it can change and how it can bring up so much conflict when we don't understand the role of the feminine and masculine. Not to say that it's even the role of a man and a woman, because masculine and feminine are energies that we
Mm-hmm.
have inside of us. So I, for example, recognize that the way I think and communicate can sometimes be masculine because I'm looking for a solution. I'm usually really logical, pretty practical and straightforward. I speak more from my mind most of the time than my emotions. And so I have to recognize that and be like, oh, okay, so the way that I approach things are from this side of the brain. And maybe this person is speaking to me from their emotions and I might not understand. Now I can look at, oh, that's where the stereotype comes from with men, and
Mm-hmm.
women being emotional and men being maybe like slow or whatever. That's the stereotype, right? So I recognize, oh, that's where it comes from. I see that within myself. I'm feeling this way. So I can begin to understand the other. So if we can see, oh, I am this way or that, then we can understand when the other person maybe doesn't see things our way, because there are so many modes of expression, so many different ways of communicating. So
Mm-hmm.
the more we can recognize what it is, we can at least forgive ourselves for, maybe judging others or judging ourselves for not um, being understanding enough. And that really starts with understanding yourself, forgiving yourself so that you can meet others where they are. So it's just, I love diving into, self-reflection and studying and getting to know myself so that I can be a better person and get to know others. So I think that's why I wanted to understand that dynamic between these energies, bringing
Yeah.
these things into alignment, balance. Like, what is that? What is the higher purpose of that? Bringing these two energies into alignment. And it's having this is what I read recently in the Gene Keys, is in the 59th Gene Key, talks about how merging those two energies, it creates a third awareness. And the third awareness is an awareness of unity. It goes beyond
Mm-hmm.
the tensions and the dichotomy of masculine and feminine. There is no more masculine and feminine. It is just is. It's just unconditional love. And so when we can embrace masculine and feminine qualities in everything in our relationships, we're allowing that unity to happen. We're allowing true love to happen, because we don't see a lot of unconditional love and true love in the stories we watch. It's very conditional. Even the structures we've been giving, it's very conditional. It's like we're together or we're not, we're married or I'm single, I had a teacher tell me recently that love transforms. Unconditional love transforms. It doesn't die. It doesn't, it's not withheld. It's not, okay, now like this relationship's over, now I'm giving my love to someone else. Like that's not how it works. And we like to think that sometimes. We like to think, oh, I'm withholding, or I'm going to give it all or not at all. But true unconditional love is like it's a flowing cup. It's a never-ending well of source energy of light and love. It's just, it continues forever. So if we can love ourselves, accept ourselves, then we can love others endlessly. Yeah.
Yes, I agree. No, that it all starts from here, it all starts with us. Like if, I guess like if you want that change in the world, you have to be the change within yourself first. But
Those like corny quotes, like we hear all these quotes all the time, and we're like, oh yeah, like be yourself, or love is all you need. But really, it's like really sit with those because,
yeah,
and that's why it's said so many times.
yeah, and it's really like those little small things that we bypass that are the big things. I was recently talking about this too, like the small things are the big things. So when you ignore those, you're ignoring the big thing, the bigger picture as well. So don't bypass the small things, like those little quotes that you see, they're there for a reason. They're there for a reminder, like your energy attracted that little reminder for you to maybe just stay more connected to yourself, to be connected to others and whatnot. But I appreciate you so much for this conversation. Thank you for being here, exchanging energy. And I look forward to connecting more on this topic and other things. But would you share anything about if you want to just conclude it, or and also to like where our audience can connect with you?
Yeah, I do most of my things on Instagram. So working on, maybe posting videos on YouTube one day. But right now you can find me on Instagram. And I do ceremonies, if anyone's in the LA area, sound baths, meditations, soon to be tea ceremonies. And I share my writing and poetry on my Instagram as well and my website. So you can also book a session for healing, for astrology, or tarot. Yeah, you can check out my website. I am eternal love dot oh wait no it's I am eternal dot love. That's it.
Yes, I love your name on there too. But thank you so much, love. I'll go ahead and put all her socials on the description below. But thank you again. Thank you all if you received this message today, and feel free to share. And just, yeah, thank you again, everyone, for showing up for yourself, for to show up for others as well. But I hope you guys have a beautiful day or night whenever you're listening to this. And namaste.